This is the plaintiff, Daniel Malbert. He says he was hired by the defendant to help design websites, and he received only 2/3 of the money he was promised. The defendant has no right stiffing him on this money that he's earned, and he's here in the name of justice, seeking the $2,400 he's still owed. This is the defendant, Maksud Agajani. He says he took this down-and-out old friend in, gave him free housing and helped him get on his feet. He even gave him a letter stating he was going to be working for him so he could show it to landlords as proof of income so he could rent his own place. Bottom line, he was very generous to this guy who, as it turns out, is a nasty person who he now wants nothing to do with and who is owed absolutely nothing. He's accused of going back on his word.
All parties, please raise your right hands. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Malbert, you are suing Mr. Agajani and his company, Trax New York City, for $2,400 that you say is owed to you and they have not paid. Can you tell me what's going on?
Correct. I've known the client for some years, or the defendant. He was a client of mine. I developed a website for him along with other collaterals for his company. I say ending of June last year, I had rock bottom, came back from Cuba, and was no longer employed at the company that I was working with. The defendant offered me housing and a situation where I would work on a big project for him for $10,000 if I stayed in the state of New York. Honestly, at that point, I was willing to go back home.
Where's home?
Boston. I'm from Boston. And start all over from scratch. The only reason why I stayed was because I was offered. What
is it you do?
I'm an interactive designer. I design websites, CD covers, mixtape covers for entertainment, posters, jewelry.
So when you say he offered you housing, the housing was where? Like what?
It was in his residential apartment.
In his home?
Correct.
So you were living together?
Correct.
Okay, and how long were you living there?
For, I say, about 5 months.
And then where did you go?
I moved to my own residence.
When did you move into the apartment? Or the house? Is it a house?
June.
Is it a house?
An apartment?
And a
two-bedroom apartment in Queens.
Okay, and were you living there too?
Yes.
Okay, so you moved in June?
Correct.
And when did you move out?
December.
Okay, and then did you keep working with him after December?
No, I was literally trying to find more employment and working with other clients at that point.
Okay, so when did you stop working for him?
Abruptly,
was it before or after you moved out?
It was before I moved out, because abruptly we got in a confrontation. He asked me to do some research for marketing. I then gave him an idea. He then took it and implemented the idea without compensating me or acknowledging that it was my idea. It was an abrupt, ugly argument. And literally, like, I didn't want to do free work anymore.
All right, so you end up, though, but you're suing here today for app design.
Correct.
Can you share the name of it?
It was just at this point, there wasn't even a name for it.
Okay.
It was an app for his company to entertain his consumer, give him the education that he was providing, the content with the videos that he was providing. It was going to update on its own, have music and everything, just an entertainment app as you would, like, be on a train or anything.
How far did you get on that?
It was complete.
Okay. According to you, you were supposed to be paid 3 payments of $1,650?
Correct.
And you were paid 2, but not the third?
To be honest with you, it was a $10,000 agreement. I was paid $5,000 up front, and then the rest of the remaining was supposed to be split up into 3 parts.
Okay.
So I got 2 of the 3 parts, and then another argument came, and then...
So you're missing, according to you, 1 of the 3 parts, which amounts to $1,650.
Correct. When we went into the agreement, I was supposed to be working on a big project. The big project I took on, and I developed the app on my own. I took it on my own as this is the big project, and he was happy with it.
What do you mean by you took it on your own? He didn't ask you for that?
Nah, he literally told me that I should work on a big project. Literally, he wasn't
It'll be
defining.
your turn in a second. And so, and no guidance about what the big project should be?
Still to this day.
What do you think? Like, you're living together, and he's not saying, hey, what are you doing? Like,
he doesn't communicate well. So, again.
Neither do you. If neither one of you are, you're living in the same space. Are you sharing a kitchen?
I'm willing to take that.
Are you sharing a kitchen?
Yes.
You're sharing a kitchen. Do you talk?
I'm willing to accept that. However, I wasn't.
It's bizarre. What, according to you, what's going on? Because I do see that you did, in fact, make payments of $1,650.
Well, like he said, he hit rock bottom, and he called me in a state of distress. His previous roommate was sleepwalking into his room, and he needed a place to stay, or he didn't need a place to stay. He said he was going back to Boston, and he can't take this anymore. He has to do this all over again. I said, listen, I have an extra bedroom I was running an Airbnb out of. It's a nice bedroom, fully furnished. You could come stay in my home for the summer and come up with something so you can make some money for yourself when you move out, so you don't have to go back home to Boston. That was my only...
Like, Boston's such a bad thing. Where are you from? What part of New York City are you from that you're both poo-pooing Boston like
Well,
this?
you know, he's in New York.
What part?
I'm
my
in Queens.
Boston viewers want to know. What part of New
Queens,
York City?
New
You're
York.
from
Rego
Queens.
Park.
All right, so excuse me. I was born in Queens, and I'm here to tell you that Boston is really nice. You
It's
know?
not bad. It's not better than Queens, though. I gave him the space. He spent the whole summer not working on any big project. He spent this whole summer...
Did you mention anything to him?
I mentioned it several times.
What'd you say?
I said, listen, let's work on something. Not working on anything. He was DJing the whole summer, relaxing, no rent to pay. He's living in my home for free.
Well, that was your decision.
That's true. That was my decision.
Right.
And then I sat there and I gave him small projects. He'd make
Why
400
did you
here and
do
there.
all this, by the way?
Because I wanted to help him. He's
No, it's not because you're a great humanitarian. He must have some talent that you found to be...
Absolutely. He has incredible talents that I was hoping he could realize and capitalize for himself.
Okay, so why don't you just give him the project that you want him to do instead of... Instead of telling him, come up with something fabulous, you know, like...
Well, you know, that was the terms that I came up with for him.
Come up with something fabulous? Okay.
Rather than going back home and going, you know,
what
away,
kind of business do you have?
Jewelry business.
Okay, and as I understand it, you're pretty successful.
I'm not bad. I'm doing okay.
You're doing okay for a boy from Queens.
Yeah.
Because I read some press about the people who buy your jewelry.
Yeah.
And you got some big names there.
Yeah, we work hard and we run a business. And when I get a chance to work with somebody, I will. If I have an extra room, I have no problem. I live by myself. I want to help somebody out. And that's the God's honest truth.
Okay, but then, so why did you not pay him the remaining $1,650?
Towards the end of the summer, he didn't accomplish anything to make money to get on his feet. I told him, you have until the end of the year, okay, until January 1st to do something.
Okay, but so he says he did. He came up with an app that your consumers could kind of, you know, it's really advertising.
Whatever it is that he said he was going to do.
And so how did that go?
So I said, fine, if this is what it's going to take, here's $5,000 as a deposit, and I have a text message correspondence with him regarding that, if you'd like to see it.
No, I believe you. Okay. He says you paid him that.
Okay, I gave him $5,000 towards the end of the year. I didn't want this application.
Oh, yeah, then I do want to see it. What date was that?
December 20th.
Yeah, let me see your text. Actually, I prefer to see text inside the phone. Do you have it in the phone?
Yes, I do.
I like to see what comes after and before.
Sure, absolutely.
I love text messaging. Say it, forget it, write it, regret it. I can move you up to $5K for the total when you pick it up.
And then another $5K when the app is launched and it's ready to go. But you got to give me some time for that because I don't even have an application. I never used it.
Please give me some time for the other $5K, at least some months. Okay, and that was in December. Please check your email for the logo, he says. I'm also in need of a written letter stating that the remaining $5K will be in my hands on whatever date. Very important for housing. And you say, okay. And he puts clappy hands, I think. I don't know. What are those hands?
Hands up.
Hands up.
Like,
touchdown.
Touchdown. All right. Like,
so at that point,
please bring that letter. Very important for me to do what I have to this weekend. So obviously he's getting out. All right. So basically you want me to look at these texts and glean what? Because what I gleaned was that you agreed to pay him the other $5K.
If when the app is actually completed, it's exactly what I say at the launch of the application. which I never
Well, what's
even...
missing for the launch? Just you?
No, not just me. I don't know.
Literally.
Yeah, well, if his work is done, then it's just you don't feel like launching it. How do you get to save yourself $5K that you committed to paying?
Well, the fact of the matter is, his work is not done. I don't know what the application does. And to be quite honest with you, the whole point of the project was him to get some money to get out of my home.
So are you not wanting to pay him the
Your Honor,
remaining amount?
I'll be quite honest with you.
I'm in the middle of a question.
Yeah.
Are you not wanting to pay him the remaining amount because you guys got into a fight? Is that what it is? Because that's the only thing I can see that's different.
I didn't want to pay him the remaining amount because I don't have an application. And if I pay him, I'm going to be begging for this application, begging for its terms.
I'm sorry,
begging
what is left for the application?
The application is actually done. I actually have billing statements from the third-party platform stating that he's still paying for the service to be rendered. So, again, it's up to him. If he wants to use the app, it's up to him. It's out of my hands.
Have you given him passcodes or whatever it is?
He has passwords. He has all of that. Like, literally, he needed that to put a credit card down to make that payment. And all of that has been done.
Did he give you the password?
I don't have any password. I don't know what the app even does, Your Honor. No, I don't have. I
See,
don't
let me tell you what your answer to the complaint is filled with, and what your testimony today is filled with. Things like,
Actually, that was
I don't know the password, so no. No, if he gave you the password, it's your fault you don't know the password. I didn't launch the app, so I don't have to pay 50% of what I agreed. Well, no, if you don't launch the app, it's on you
Your
that
Honor,
you didn't
I
launch
can't
the app.
launch an app. I don't have the means to do so.
Why
That's up
not?
to him. I don't know how to launch an app. He's coming up with an application. I don't even know what it does.
Well, why don't you find out?
All I wanted for him was to get out of my home and have the money to
That's
get
very
out of it.
nice, but you can't pretend that you don't have an agreement with him. I did not create the situation. You did.
I did.
You wanted him not to go to Boston. You wanted to tap into his big brain. You thought this was a good deal for you, and now it turns out not to be. What did you think was going to happen when you come to court and there's all kinds of evidence that you agree to pay a certain amount?
This is a conversation between me and him, so I could give him the money for something that he never completed, as far as I know. I don't have any application. I don't have a launch.
All right, give him the password. You got the password on you?
I don't have it on me, but I will email it again.
Now, I have a question for you. When you give him the password, what happens next? Because you're the app guy, I'm not. What happens next?
Welcome back to the People's Court, Harvey Levin here. So can this dude say, well, we're square because you lived in my house for free?
No, he can't. That's not right. It's two different legal actions there. You know, he owes him some money and he's living free in his house. He's still got to pay.
That sounds pretty compelling. What do you say?
I don't know. Did he sign a contract?
No contract? About the house, for sure.
Well, I don't know. That's
Why don't you? I would go with what he's saying. What do you say?
So no?
I would say yes.
Yes?
Really?
I don't know.
Okay. Going inside the courtroom.
Literally, he has to
What?
just enter iPod or Apple information. So his.
Oh, is that too much for you?
His,
I mean,
What is that? What was that?
I don't-
Because that just makes me more suspicious of your testimony. Just stop and don't move.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
have any of his personal information with any Apple account that he has. So all he has to do is enter that information so it appears on the Apple Store and people are able to download
That's it. And then it's on the Apple Store. That's all he's got to
That's
do.
done.
That's what launch means. The
That's
last
it.
minutes, the last seconds before the launch are all in his possession.
That's it.
All he needs is the password from you.
Your
No,
Honor,
I already
Awesome.
gave it to him. I'll resend
No,
it.
you cannot. And what's this layaway? You're suing for a layaway on some jewelry?
Correct. During the whole $10,000 agreement, I assumed that I would be getting the money and I would be able to afford a piece of jewelry. I wore a pendant out of the showcase, returned it. It was damaged. I paid for the damage and paid for that actual pendant. I would like that back. I don't want that pendant.
But you don't get to back out of that. That's a contract too. I think what happened is this. I think that everything would have been fine if you had felt more gratitude. You felt like you were giving the guy a home for 6 months and that he kind of had a testy attitude. And I see it, but this is what you bought. That's the package you bought. You saw in him an edge and talent, and that's why you gave him a home for 6 months. And now you're complaining about it. You didn't give him a home to be your puppy. You gave him a home because you wanted him to do the work for you. And then you guys end up in this big tiff, and now nobody wants to pay him for contract. I'm a contracts person. Let me tell you what the contract was on the rent. Bupkis. That is your contract that you struck with him. Pay me nothing, because I want to keep you here. Okay, well, that was your deal, and you got your deal, all right? Then the contract on the other stuff is the remaining money. So, it's very simple, okay? If you tell somebody, if you do this, I'll pay you, and the person does it, you got to pay them. And I am ordering you to pay the remaining $1,650 upon your giving the password to him again.
Not a problem.
Okay? All right? That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff, in the end, does prevail. You understand? You know, it's a contract.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I don't think this application will ever happen.
Let me ask you a question. You keep referring to that. What is it for? Designed to do?
It's for him to get out of my house.
No, I know, but I mean, it's an app. But what's it going to do? Do you know?
I have no idea.
You don't seem to know.
I don't know.
You don't have a clue what it does?
I invited a person in my home. Big mistake. Never do that if you're at home.
Well, look, you did that. You did that on your own. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe you can tell me. Here comes Mr. Albert. Maybe you can tell me what the app is designed to do.
The app is actually to entertain his consumer. Play music, look at all the fancy jewelry he recently designed, all the videos he's uploading on YouTube. It all feeds into the app directly.
Is it like a catalog of jewelry he has for sale, maybe?
That too.
Something
that
like
too.
that.
That too. It's actually like a newsletter, a blog, or a
See,
vlog.
he doesn't understand that. He doesn't know what it's for.
He wants to play ignorant. That's what happens.
Well, look, you won, okay? You're living okay now?
I'm blessed.
You mentioned you were down and out in Havana. Did I hear that?
Nah, I went to Cuba and returned to no job. So now I'm back. I'm on my feet.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Very good. Harvey?
Okay, Doug. Well, the plaintiff ended up giving the defendant the password, so the case is closed. End of story.
This is the plaintiff, Michael Watson. He says he hired the defendant to make him 25 T-shirts with his original artwork printed on them. When he received the shirts, however, he wasn't happy with the pictures. Seems someone had altered his drawing. The defendant refuses to return the $664.90 he gave him, and he's entitled to get his money back because the plaintiff did not deliver what he had promised. This is the defendant, Harvey Paulvin. He says the artwork the plaintiff presented them with was too complicated to reproduce on a T-shirt. So his designer had to do some work to make it fit on the shirt. He showed the plaintiff the finished proof before printing the shirts, and the guy signed off on it. Now he's suing? He was shocked to receive this lawsuit, but shocked or not, he owes nothing. He's accused of not giving a shirt.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff hired the defendant to make 25 special T-shirts, but there was a problem with the artwork. The defendant says the plaintiff's design wasn't doable, so he tinkered with it. It's the case of it doesn't fit me to a T.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Michael Watson, you are suing Harvey Paulvin, owner of T-Shirt Express, actually suing T-Shirt Express for $664.90 that you say you are out as a result of them breaching a contract to get your artwork on some T-shirts, which you say they did poorly.
Yes.
All right, talk to me. Tell me what you do.
So basically, I'm a commercial illustrator. I do designs for children's books. I do logos, anything commercial. So basically, I've never been in any type of situation where I could showcase my art myself. So this Mocha Festival came up.
What's a Mocha Festival?
Mocha Festival is a comic book. It's like a comic book enthusiast type festival. So if you're like really into comic books or anything like that, this is the festival you would showcase your artwork. So I went to the defendant to have him print some shirts.
So that you could sell them at the festival?
Yes.
All right, so what would you end up doing? You rented a table at the festival?
Yes.
And there was an $80 charge for that, and then...
Yes, because it was 4 of us, so we're going to have like a quarter of the table.
All right, so your goal was to be able to showcase your own art, which you were going to showcase how? Like your art was going to be in books and where?
Yes, I had some books printed, stickers. I also had these T-shirts printed. I also had the original drawing, which is here, that I was going to sell while I was there. And also, since the T-shirts were in black and white and they weren't, they didn't have any color, I was going to have like a coloring contest so people could come up, purchase a shirt. If they want to enter the contest, they could I would give them some markers, like fabric markers. They could color it. They could come back to me.
That's clever.
And at the end of the day, we'd have like a contest.
Okay. So let me see the artwork that you gave to them in order to have it reproduced on a T-shirt.
So this is the original artwork. And I also have a little thing that I wanted to, walk through with you, just to show you what exactly happened. That's the original artwork.
Okay,
It's
hold on
done-
a second, hold on. This is on like tracing paper,
Yeah, that's vellum.
vellum,
Yes.
okay. Now, how did you send it to them? Did you send it digitally?
Yes.
Okay, let me see digitally what you received and what you sent. I want to see both.
Yes.
Is that yours? Copy?
Yes, this is what I sent.
Okay, thank you. That's the plaintiff's copy. That's the defendant's.
All right, you then received from them a proof that you needed to approve.
Yes.
Do you have that proof?
You actually have everything.
Page 2?
Yep. The first page is what I sent them. That's the exact file. As you can see, the first page on there is a lot darker than the invoice.
Then why did you approve it?
Well, what happened was I received it the day that they had to print it. So I received it and I saw it on my phone. So the image is a lot smaller and
Tough
it looks
for
tighter.
you. I mean, this is how business works, my friend.
But this-
All right, so the sooner you realize that, the better. So you approved this one.
Yes.
And so what is your complaint? Let me see the T-shirt.
What it is that there was an effect applied to it that I didn't apply to it
And what
myself.
effect do you say was applied to it?
The effect that was applied to it is called a halftone effect.
What purpose would there be? Why would your art director, did your art director apply a halftone? Is that a yes?
That would be a yes. The issue is that he's approving something on a small smartphone, and that he's looking at something with a white glossy background. And he was explained very early on in the process, as a matter of fact, from moment one, that his artwork, of course, is fairly intricate, and he needed to make some revisions to it. My art director needed to make some revisions to it. We came to an
I don't
understanding.
even think, though, that they made revisions. It looks, I mean, it's what it is just that instead of being a crisp, thin line, it's a little more, he calls it pixelated.
Pixelated is correct.
Right.
This is a series of halftones and pixelations that go into making up this artwork in the transformation from his drawing onto a screen so that we can screen print it
How do you
onto
do
a
that? I'm
T-shirt.
fascinated by this because I don't even know how this works. How does your industry do that?
Well, of course, most art that we see these days is all done by computer. So it's called vector artwork. It's clean and crisp. You can downsize it, you can enlarge it to any size, and everything holds up beautifully. Hand-drawn items, whether they're in single color or multicolor, of course, come with its own issues, not problems, but issues, because these lines are not going to hold up well if we enlarge it to a certain point. We let the clients know about that as we...
Because his was hand-drawn, of course.
Correct. And so we let him know about that immediately. Michael went through a variety of updates and revisions, all showed in emails that I have here. And we went through the approval process. We printed them out. And of course, lo and behold, he's not happy with them.
Right, and he's not happy because he feels that it's more pixelated on the T-shirt than it is in the approved drawing.
Which was explained to him. As we
Okay.
explained...
How do you explain that to your client?
In no uncertain terms that...
Is it in writing?
No.
Those are no uncertain terms. Because watch this. Did he explain that? Did anybody explain that to you?
No, because the young lady, Trisha, who is his assistant, she asked me to go back, and that's why there were so many revisions, to darken up the lines so that they'd read better when they finally go to printing. So I did all of that. She said this was perfectly fine, and they took that to print, and I spoke with him. And then when I was speaking with him, he was saying that...
But you actually canceled your appearance at the place. According to you, you didn't even go.
Yes, I didn't go.
Oh, because these are so bad?
Yes, believe it or not...
these are T-shirts. That was one of the many things you were going to do there. You had stickers, you had your artwork you were trying to sell, you were trying to show your art.
Yes.
Over the T-shirts? Oh, because this is supposedly so bad?
Yeah, believe it or not, yes, it is, because... It's not my artwork. It's not the original piece that I gave them. They altered it without my
The original piece that you gave them was on vellum. How did they alter it?
That's what I was...
It didn't translate crisply. I agree. But how did they alter your artwork? You make it sound like they did something like an affront to your artistry, because that's how artists are. But it's on cotton on a T-shirt. Like, you didn't think there'd be something lost in the process?
No, it's not the process.
Is this the best you guys can do? Like, there's no crisper line that can happen, or is it what he paid for?
With additional either work by my art department or additional work from Michael, it could be better.
So you've handed me an email that says, please darken this drawing and resend as a PDF. Did you darken the drawing and resend as a PDF?
Yes, that's why the first drawing that you have is a lot darker than what they have in the invoice, because that's when that effect was applied.
Your Honor, if I may, I have 3 other emails in front of me that go through the process over a few days of Michael enhancing the design.
Let me see. Let me see what was said to him.
So it was a process.
It's a process, but the question, look, this is a contracts case for me. That's all it is, pure and simple. Does the client think he's going to get one thing and gets another? Is he justified in complaining, or was it explained to him? Now watch this. Did anybody explain that to you?
No.
No. All right.
That's not the case.
Well, I know, but I need that testimony. So am I going to see that in emails to him, or am I going to hear from a witness who says that they talked to him? Because that's not happening right now. This is the artwork. Please let me know if I formatted it correctly. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. There's nothing about the warning of your lines are so thin that please understand that there may be something lost in the translation on cotton. For it to come up, we might have to pixelate it. Had a warning been done like that, a disclaimer, as it were, there'd be no question. You win and that's over. I think you do great work. It's not that I don't think you do great work. I think that maybe you had a budget. I don't know. I don't even think it's a budget issue. It's just a matter of communication, which is exactly what contracts is about.
Yes.
And if you tell the client, look, with this drawing, the lines aren't going to be crisp. Understand that I'm going to have to halftone it. The client would have said, no, whatever you do, don't halftone it.
Yes.
But that was never said. I don't see that in any of the emails. I don't know how you make a $348.50 lawsuit into double that.
So the defendant goes ahead and tinkers with the artwork because he says the plaintiff's design wasn't doable, but doesn't tell him in advance. Is the defendant screwed?
I would think so, because you would always need approval. I actually work at a design agency, and I would never do anything without the client's approval.
Fair point. Now here's the question. What if the defendant's right, that what the plaintiff wanted was not doable? If he's absolutely right and says, I did it and I had to change it, but he didn't tell the guy, is he still screwed?
Yes, he's still screwed, because he shouldn't have tampered with it.
Even if there was no other way of doing it?
Well, yeah, you don't borrow someone's car and change the radio station and mess.
Well, you can change the radio station. I'm okay with that. Going inside the courtroom.
Quite frankly, 2 days missed from work. I thought you didn't go to the festival.
This day,
right,
and the day that I had to go and make the revisions for that, for it to be printed in time.
No, that's a no. And then the festival table rental. Wow, you could have still gone to the festival. I am, however, going to order you to return all of the shirts, and I'm going to order the defendant to return the $348.50. $348.50, verdict for the plaintiff. All the T-shirts go back.
Chance to get some comment from the defendant here after hearing the judge rule in favor of the plaintiff. What's your feeling on the outcome?
Disappointing, but understood. I clearly heard what the judge said with regards to putting a disclaimer in there when we have original pieces of art.
You'll do that from now on?
We'll do that from now on.
Could you have communicated better with this artist during this process?
He was communicated verbally. That important piece of information that we just talked about should have been, was communicated with him in my presence with my art director and my associate, but it never appeared in any emails.
All right, around the corner, your documents are waiting, and let's talk to the artist who didn't get everything he sued for, but you got something. Are you satisfied how it comes out?
I'm insanely happy, yes.
Insanely?
Yes, because there was a lot of bad communication, and I think that the judge saw through him.
Mm-hmm.
And,
She said he does good work.
No, he does. He does do insanely good work, but he just altered the work without my permission.
Okay, how's it going? How's the career going? Do you regret not going to that festival?
I do regret it, yes. I should have went. I mean, I would have only had a few little things on my table, but maybe other artists would have saw through that and said, hey, man, this guy's really good, and gave me an offer chance or something like that.
So you're going to be out there again soon?
I'm definitely going to be out there, yes.
Harvey?
Okay, this one's really simple. If you agree to do a job, you have to follow the specs. And if there's some problem with the specs, you got to go back to the person who hired you and say, let's work it out.
This is the plaintiff, Darby McCloskey. He says he's an architect, and he was hired by the defendant to design a gate and wall for his property. He did the drawings, submitted them to the defendant, and the louse just stopped communicating with him. Well, he's outraged. He refuses to be ignored, and is suing the defendant today for the $3,876.80 he's owed for all his work. This is the defendant, Stephen Kenneth Landers. He says he hired the plaintiff to design a simple wall for his property, but the guy kept trying to upsell him by providing drawings with all of these elaborate things. He wanted him to add on a carport, lighting, and some landscaping, and kept telling him, just a simple wall, please. Well, he's not going to pay the plaintiff extra for this wasted work. He paid him in full already, and this case is closed. He's accused of stiffing an architect.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case of the docket. The plaintiff's an architect whom was hired by the defendant, says the defendant stiffed him. But the defendant says the guy was trying to gouge him, pressure him to do add-ons. It's the case of Blueprint for Disaster.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome in.
Darby McCloskey,
Here.
you're suing your client, Stephen Kenneth Landers, for $3,876.80 that you say he owes you in architecture fees. How did you first get employed by him?
I have a Craigslist ad that's all over South Carolina, Georgia, Florida.
Where are you located?
I'm located on a little island called St. Simon's Island in Georgia, just north of Jacksonville, probably 70 miles or so.
Okay, so you find him on an ad in Craigslist,
That's correct.
and you wanted to have what constructed?
I needed a wall out in front of my property. I'm having a lot of robberies, so all my neighbors have walls. I figured that would stem the robberies.
Okay, like a wall and a gate
That's
that would
correct.
open to
That's
allow
correct.
you in? All right, so is there anything in writing a contract between you two about the scope of the work?
There has been several emails discussing the fee as far as an hourly. My business is set up hourly.
I don't think there's any dispute that it's $60 an hour, right?
No dispute.
No dispute about that.
Right.
But what about, the scope of the work? Like, I want X and, and that's all I want, because that's his defense around here. So is there anything saying I'm gonna do drawings for X and you're gonna pay me Y? Is there anything that finally got?
As an architect and somewhat of an artist, it's always open-ended.
No, it's not. I hire you to do something. All I'm asking is, what's the something? That's it. It's open-ended. Apparently, you hired him at $60 an hour. I've done that. I've hired somebody at, coincidentally, $60 an hour. And I find it dangerous as can be, because number one, the work doesn't get done swiftly, okay? Because that guy's got to eat. And number two, all of a sudden I'm like, what? I have no idea what I put into a project. There are people that work that way, and that's that, and you know it. Attorneys work that way, and then you have so little control. Sometimes people who do that say to the other side, we need to cap it at X, so I have. Did you do that or no?
I told them I didn't want to break the bank doing it.
And so that should be enough. Well, what does a break the bank mean? He doesn't care. He goes to your house. Apparently, he sees your Ferrari, because I saw some chatter back and forth on the text about that. So, what you think break the bank means and what he thinks break the bank means is two different things. So the answer to my question is no. You did not put a cap on him. So he works and he does a bunch of things. One of the things that he does is he creates some drawings for things that are well beyond a gate. For example, you created drawings that were for what?
How the house could be in incorporation of the gate and the fence, and could have a nice drive. It could have a portico. It could have an additional garage.
Did he ask you for any of that, though?
Well, it's part of. Did
he ask you for any? I have simple questions. Did he ask you for any of that?
Did he specifically ask? No.
Now, what part of his bill do you think is overage?
If you look at his bill that he sent me, there's 40 hours of draftsman expenses, $1,400. I don't think I should be responsible for that, because that's just him surfing the internet, looking for gates and parts and stuff I didn't ask him for.
Well, but let me ask you this. When you say I shouldn't be responsible for his time surfing the internet, In your agreement with him, did you specify that you wouldn't pay for for him surfing the internet? Because that's the problem when you tell somebody, I'll pay you $60 an hour. Go at it.
Okay.
Have at it and let me know what I owe you. Right.
Okay.
You know?
I didn't ask him to find those parts. I didn't want him to find those parts. I had those parts all lined up already.
Do you have, let me make sure I'm looking at the same bill you are. What, according to you, you spent 75 hours working on this?
Yes, very, very much. 75 hours.
You ended up just ghosting. You just stopped returning the guy's texts and emails and everything else. And you just, when did you decide, I'm not going to talk to this guy anymore?
When he started harassing me at work daily.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Does this defendant have to pay for the additional work that wasn't really specifically asked for?
I don't think he should have to pay for it because he didn't specifically ask for it, and he went above and beyond, which is nice, but he may not have wanted that.
Fair enough. What do you say?
No, he obviously didn't. He was never told to do it. He shouldn't charge her for it.
Okay, am I wrong here? Does he look like Jimmy Fallon? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Have you heard that?
I've gotten that before.
You see, I was right there, going inside the courtroom.
See, your conduct of just ghosting indicates to me kind of a bad faith when it comes to paying what you owe. Because if you felt that we need to work this out, and then all of a sudden you ghost, then you're hoping it's in your best interest and that it'll just go away. And so tell me, you say, well, that's not what I wanted. That's not going to get you out of paying something. You agreed to pay the guy $60 an hour. If you think you're walking out of here without paying another penny, you're out of your mind.
I'm more than happy.
Because that's the contract you entered into. I didn't enter into that contract. You entered into it.
Okay.
So when you say you're more than willing to, what?
I'd be more than happy to pay him his architectural fees. I don't think I should pay the draftsman fees.
What was included in the, hello? What was included in the 40 hours of draftsman's fees that you charge?
There's a list of 13 sheets in which the draftsman puts together. The architectural part of designing is not always the actual work to create the paperwork. So the draftsman, typically in an architectural office, creates the stuff that is on the easel. And I control the design of it and then interject as needed.
You interject with yourself?
No, I have a draftsman.
Okay. Except for that you served as a draftsman, didn't you? Because
yes,
you said,
I don't always bill the owner $60 an hour because,
I can just pick a figure out of the sky, can't I?
Well,
it's kind of what you guys did. Why am I breaking my back? Seriously.
I agree. I'm with you.
It's exactly what you guys did. I don't know. You figure it out. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I've got a draftsman now, but I argued with myself because I was a draftsman on this one. I know that because I read the emails. So now how do you justify the $660 for driving costs from Georgia to Florida?
To file for the court case, which is why we're all here.
I'm not going to make him pay for you filing a lawsuit against him. That's the entire $660?
Yeah, I had to go back twice. It's travel.
Don't do business in Florida. That's
my-
that's not the same as travel to get his job done. I'm not going to order him to pay that. What's the lost wages?
To travel.
You mean to come to the People's Court?
Yeah, absolutely. I could
should
be
pay
working
you
on
to-
a whole nother project right now.
Could you?
Yeah, I got plenty of them.
I'm not going to order him to pay that. What we're left with is me trying to figure out a fair discount for the things that you claim were not what you wanted. Because I do have a sense that what happened here is basically you decided to just, forget this. And there's a cost for that because you had a guy working. He was working diligently, and he did a bunch of work for you at this ridiculous agreement that you had, which was completely open-ended. If you knew that all you wanted was a gate, then why have it at $60 an hour? We should know what it's going to cost beforehand. I am going to discount the amount for stuff that you and I both feel maybe was bloated by $1,000, and I'm going to order you to pay him. You've already paid him $1,000. I'm going to order you to pay him an additional $1,700. $176.80 for his efforts. We're done. Good luck, gentlemen.
Well, Mr. Landers, you said you had paid in full and you weren't going to pay any more, but the judge says that's not right. You're going to have to give him another $1,700.
Oh, well, you win some, you lose some.
So where is it right now at this one? Do you have the wall?
Oh, no.
Nothing's been done?
I'm still in the planning stage.
Still in the planning stage.
I wasn't really happy with the drawings he gave me.
You weren't?
No.
Okay. Well, you start again from scratch, right?
Yeah.
Another architect, and good luck.
You will see.
Okay, good luck to you.
Well,
Thank
nice
you
to
very
meet you,
much.
sir.
Sorry. Okay, good enough. That way.
Oh, yeah.
Door is that way. Mr. McCluskey? Yes. What you were asking for $3,800, an additional $3,800, you're going to get $1,700. Is that going to help cover the what you lost?
Quite a bit. Something's better than nothing. Yeah.
I think you could be more careful maybe in your contracts and make sure people understand what you're asking for in the future.
I only work as an hourly employee. Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much, sir. Okay, you must sign a few documents on your way. And Harvey, what do you think?
Doug, look, you never, make this short and sweet, never get money for just coming to court, even if you had to lose out on a job.